Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com, Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Hey there, everyone. Hey there, everyone. Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. I lost my voice there at the start. Wow, that was interesting. Sorry about that. That doesn't normally happen. Anyway, hope you're doing well today on this Memorial Day. We'll get into so much here over the next, 45 minutes to an hour. But just wanted to, at the start here, a little solemn moment for Memorial Day. I know we all get out and celebrate and all that kind of stuff, but remember why we get the day off. And I didn't lose any family members in the wars. My grandfather actually joined the Navy after Pearl Harbor was attacked in World War II, and didn't see quote unquote action because he was actually stationed in Hawaii. But family members, he was in the service. My dad was in the service. My uncle was in the service during the Vietnam era. Luckily, none of them passed away. But for those of you that lost family members, this day is for you. And heart out to all of you and to all of you that have served this country as well. So thank you so much for that here on this Memorial Day. I am Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Thanks for joining me here on the show today. Yeah, we're still working today. It might be a holiday, but we're still working at FantasyGuru.com. We got a big show planned for you here today. Before we get to the show, that's right, folks. Remember, all the baseball coverage at FG, one low price, boom, taken care of. Go to FantasyGuru.com, click that subscribe tab in the top right corner, have at it. You get the seasonal baseball, the DFS baseball, the wagering baseball, all of it, one package. No need to worry about, do you have access to this or access to that? You got access to everything. So sign up right now for the package over at FantasyGuru.com. And before we get to that, it's football season too. I know it's early. I know a lot of you are saying, why are we talking about football on Memorial Day, the unofficial start of the holiday or the summer season unofficially, I guess. It's not summer here, by the way. It's like 55 degrees and foggy with some wet air. But hope you're well wherever you're at. But yeah, we've got the football product. It's not out yet. It's available for purchase, though. It drops on June 2nd, so next week. Technically, I think stuff's coming out June 1st, but we're calling June 2nd. As you can see there on the screen right now, get signed up over at FG. You get, if you sign up for the basic package there you go. You see it. You get the draft guide. You get the rankings and projections. You get Jeff Mann's draft plan, the in-season content throughout the year. You get some ability for best ball coverage. You get Discord access, all that kind of stuff. And then there's escalating options for you if you want to get more involved with this over there. As we talked about this last week, if you get the Elite Seasonal package, you also get MLB Seasonal thrown in. And this is going to be a big week for MLB Seasonal because of the way the schedule works, which I'll get to in a few minutes. We're doing a lot of seasonal coverage this week versus the DFS coverage. We've got the daily football available, the betting football available too over at FantasyGuru.com, and then the all-in package. Everything we do, significant discount right now. All the videos, all the articles, all the Discord, wagering, DFS, seasonal, all of it, all season long if you get that all-in package. So check that out over at FantasyGuru.com. As I was mentioning, things are a little different this week. Jeff Mans is away on vacation. So what are we doing? Justin Fensman and I are basically taking the Elite Sports Game Time show, which is normally Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 Eastern. We're taking that show into Jeff's slot. So for this week, there'll be no game time in the evening. We'll return to game time in the evening next week. This week, there'll be no Jeff Mans, but that's okay. We're in his slot. Now, there is one caveat to that. We're going to be in Jeff's slot Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Today, Justin Fensman's going to be doing a one-off from 7 to 9 Eastern. So I know it's weird. It's not the way it should be, but we're not in our normal night slot. We're not in Jeff's normal slot. We're 7 to 9 Eastern today, and it's just Justin. Tuesday through Friday, it'll be Justin and I on the Elite Sports time slot. So Tuesday through Friday. I got to get used to saying this. Tuesday through Friday, 3 to 6 Eastern. It'll be Justin and I in Jeff's time slot, 3 to 6 Eastern, Tuesday through Friday on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. And then next week, Jeff Mans will return. He'll go back to that 3 to 6 time slot. Justin and I will go back to the 8 to 10 time slot on SiriusXM. All right, what are we talking about today? It's a Monday, and this is baseball day, which is good because it's Memorial Day. No more football talk other than go to FantasyGuru.com, click that subscribe tab. We're going to talk about Marcelo Mayer, who was called up, Juan Soto, Willy Adames, Ozzie Albies, Alexander Canario, Willson Contreras, Brandon Lowe, Vargas, King, Sasaki, and Mason Miller. And then we'll talk a little bit, as we always do here on a Monday, about the FAAB, the waiver wire runs for LABR, FSGA, and TOUT WARS. Okay, let's get into it. Marcelo Mayer was promoted to the big leagues. It was bound to happen at some point, and it happened a little earlier than we anticipated because Alex Bregman's gone to the injured list with his quad situation. We don't know how bad this is going to be. We have heard it's not as bad as his last quad injury. Bregman's last quad injury, I think, took 58 days or something like it. So it took 2 months. So this could be a substantial run here for Mayer, getting an opportunity to play on a consistent basis. He's going to play third base for now. And frankly, though this would take a little bit, obviously when Bregman is healthy, he's back in the lineup playing every day. Trevor Story has stunk for about a month. He's really stunk. It's possible that if Mayer comes up and does well, that they shift this thing when Bregman's healthy and Mayer goes to shortstop and Story becomes a sub. We'll see. Of course, Story could also get hurt. But right now, Marcelo Mayer's been brought up. His first game was terrible. I think he struck out 3 times in his first outing. He then had a much better Sunday, going 2 for 4 with a double. We'll talk about Mayer a little bit more, when we go through the FAAB. A little surprised. There wasn't that much excitement with Mayer. And I think one of the things we have to keep in mind is that saying Marcelo Mayer is a great major league prospect is true. But saying he's a great fantasy prospect, again, these guys with 20 home run power, they're going to steal 10 bases. Is that super exciting? Is it? No, actually, Trevor Story might be a little bit more exciting. Obviously, he might hit 210 and be out of the lineup and get hurt, but you get the point. So Marcelo Mayer didn't generate as much excitement on the waiver wire as you would probably anticipate. And again, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. I wanted to touch on Juan Soto for a moment. We've talked a lot about him on the Elite Sports Game Time show on SiriusXM, but it's really interesting. I'm not in New York. I'm obviously in California, and all I'm hearing is everyone hates Juan Soto. He's getting bashed in the media. There's all these reports floating around. He doesn't want to be with the Mets, all this nonsense stuff. You paid him $765 million. You shouldn't have done it, Mets. But you did it. It's not his fault you did it. Let it play out. Now, it's interesting. Soto's bat speed is down. There's a really interesting article about this by Eno Saris, who is in the Hall of Fame now. And I think I may have given him his first job. It was really close to the first job if he didn't get it way back in the day. But he's honestly gone on a tremendous career. Really interesting article over at Athletic talking about, yes, the bat speed for Soto is down, but is it really? So you might want to check that out. In terms of Soto, I wanted to point out that, look, he's not been good. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. He's not been good, right? And people have been saying he's hitting 236. He still has a 363 on base percentage. So when that batting average comes up to 275, and it's going to come up to 275, guess what? His on base percentage is going to be 398. He'll be fine. Juan Soto will be fine. And also note, he stole a base yesterday. Low key, and no one's talking about this, you know that Juan Soto's on pace to go 2020, right? I haven't heard a single person talk about that. He's on pace to go 2020. Is he really that bad? So I don't know what it is with the East Coast. I guess things get hyped up. We're different on the West Coast. A little more chill, let things play out a little bit more, I guess. But Juan Soto, disappointing to this point? Yes. If he goes 2020 and hits 275, still in play, folks. Still in play with Juan Soto. Now, another guy who it's not looking great. We've talked about him since the preseason. And as I noted in the preseason, I think I was probably as low or lower on him than most people were, and that is Willy Adames of the Giants. Signing a big contract's always tough. Going from Milwaukee to San Francisco, it's a big change. Going from that ballpark in Milwaukee to the ballpark in San Francisco, like these are all negatives for Willy Adames. Adames is a great teammate, according to all reports. His attitude is great. The team loves him. All this kind of stuff is there. But in terms of his production, it's been light. And he went 0 for 4. He did have an RBI on Sunday, but he went 0 for 4. He's now 18 for 86 with 28 strikeouts in 22 games in May. It's not getting better with Willy Adames. And I think a lot of times what happens, and this can happen in positive and negative, is we see the performance of a player. And we kind of pick and choose what we like and what we don't like. I think Juan Soto, we're just talking about it. Oh, his batting average is terrible, but he's on pace to go 2020. Willy Adames has gone 30-100. Yeah. Is he a guy that's going to hit 236 doing that? And I think we're starting to see that that's very possibly who he's going to be this year. Now, the question becomes, is he even going to go, is he going to hit 30 home runs? And at this point, it's really hard to think he's going to. I'm pulling up his data so we can look at it directly. 5 home runs in 50 games, 25 RBIs. So he's basically on a 1575 pace while hitting 210. And last year, the 21 steals, which I hope you didn't draft him expecting a repeat of. Some people probably did. 21 steals last year, he's got 2. So this year with the Giants, and the Giants don't traditionally run a ton. The stolen base pace of Adames is back to what he was prior to last season. So even if he were to hit 30 home runs this year, which would be a tremendous run from here on out, if he's stealing 4 bases, he's not getting anywhere close to the numbers he posted last season. It was never logical to expect him to repeat the numbers from last season, though I know, again, looking at ADP, some people did. Real problem with Adames is not the strikeouts. They're under control. The real problem is the launch angle. We've talked about this. 18% 2 years ago, 21% last year, 21.5% this year. It's not a terrible number by any means, but when you strike out and you hit a lot of balls in the air, San Francisco's not a great place to hit. So it'll get a little bit better when the weather warms up, but he's probably a guy that's going to go down as being overdrafted, and that's just the way it looks like it's going to be. Eric S., by the way, I see you can leave comments and questions on Twitter X at Fantasy Guru site. You can leave comments and questions on YouTube at youtube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork and on Facebook.com/Fantasy Guru EHQ. All the 3 of those spots, you can leave comments during the show, and we'll see them, address them, comments, questions, that kind of thing. Eric asks about Gavin Sheets of San Diego. Talked a lot about Gavin Sheets, wrote about him the other day at fantasyguru.com. I think we talked about him on Friday's show. It was Thursday or Friday's show last week. Sheets has been terrific, and he's greatly outpaced expectations. He has clearly cemented himself in the lineup, at least against right-handed pitching for the Padres. And it's starting to get pretty serious with him. Like, he's starting to look like a guy that's going to go, 28-85, right? He is hitting 283, and he's been nowhere close to that in his career. And some concerns with the batting average. Number one, his strikeout rate is a career high. It's only 26%, but it's a career high. So that doesn't speak to him setting a career best in batting average. His batting average of balls in play is 330. His career mark is 270. That doesn't speak to him setting a career best. His launch angle is also up a little bit. It's up about 2.5, 3 percentage points. So he's lifting the ball more. The bottom line is Sheets should continue to hit some home runs. He should continue to be effective against right-handed pitching, but his batting average is almost certainly going to go down in a significant way. He's a 235-40 hitter. So he doesn't run, and he's going to hit 238 the rest of the way. So be cautious with expecting too much. He's kind of you picked him up for nothing, and who cares? Let's keep riding him kind of guy. Or, hey, so-and-so, you think he's going to hit 280 with 26 home runs this year? Let's talk. I think he's a nice trade piece. If someone believes the first 50 games, I don't know if they will, given the expectations on draft day. Next up, Ozzie Albies. Talk about expectations on draft day. Albies hasn't been very good. A lot of the Braves haven't been very good. But as we talked about last week with Ronald Acuna returning, and he hit home runs his first 2 games, right? This could be the jumpstart the Braves offense needs to really coalesce. Because there have been moments this season where the Braves have done some nice things, but overall they just haven't gelled as a team. Ozzie Albies went 2 for 2 with a pair of doubles and an RBI on the weekend. Overall, Ozzie Albies is much like Adames, we were just talking about, is disappointed. Unlike Adames, Albies is a player that I believed in. I still believe in. And it's, it's 2 weeks, so we can't get crazy about this. But he's hitting 333 the last 2 weeks. The last week, he's got an 1,000 OPS, does Ozzie Albies. I think we're starting to see it turn. And again, he is a compiler. He is not somebody that's going to wow you. He's certainly not going to kill batting average or on-base percentage, but he's still on pace to go 15-15 this year, which I think is kind of the floor, at least in the power department for Albies. He should continue to produce runs in the middle of that Braves order. So, if he's available on the cheap, like if I could do a Gavin, this is crazy to me, but if I could trade Gavin Sheets for Ozzie Albies, I'm doing it immediately. I don't know if that's reasonable. Again, you never know how people think about players, but that's something I do immediately. Alexander Canario of the Pirates went 3 for 4, scored a couple of runs. In May, he's hitting 294, and it's not. This is for those of you in deeper leagues. I don't know how many of you are. I get a lot of questions from people that clearly are in shallow leagues, but Canario has hit 290 in May, as we were just talking about. The last 2 weeks, hitting 311, home run, a steal. He's a very deep league fill-in if you have a hole in the outfield. Just wanted to mention him because I got one question about him. He's not sexy or exciting, but there is some decent batted ball data here. But again, he's on the Pirates. He is playing most days right now at this point, so that's a positive. But that's more, I think, in someone like me when you're in a 14, 15 team mix league. Just wanted to throw his name out there. Willson Contreras, who's missed 3 games. He's expected to return to the lineup today after missing time with his back injury. Contreras has had a really up and down season, as anyone that has him on their squad knows. Anyone that's watched the show knows, because we've talked about him an awful lot. He's obviously catcher and first base eligible right now. He has not caught a single game, which is going to be disappointing next year. But for this year, he's a banger, obviously, at the catcher spot. He's got his average up to 250. He's hit 300 the last month with 19 RBIs. Last 2 weeks, 229. Yeah. So, I think we're kind of getting, he was too slow. Then he was too hot. Now he's slow. We're kind of getting a leveling off here, but we really do know what Willson Contreras is. And if he gets 550 plate appearances while all the other catchers are getting 450, he's got a good chance to be a top 5 catcher the rest of the way. He's just a very solid major league hitter. He's going to hit 265. He's going to have a 340 on base percentage, right? Going to drive in 75 runs. Like, he's just going to do these things. He's going to play every day at that DH or first base position. So little up, little down, just maintain the faith, ride it out. It'll be fine with Willson Contreras. Brandon Lowe went 3 for 4 with a 2-run home run and a couple of runs scored on Sunday. That was his 10th home run of the year. All of a sudden, he's got 10 home runs. 6 home runs his last 15 games. Now, Brandon Lowe is much like Gavin Sheets, we just talked about. He's limited. He has been playing actually against some lefties, Lowe, which is interesting because he's not done that much in his career, and I wouldn't expect that to be a long-term thing, but it doesn't hurt to get the extra plate appearances with him. He is somebody that's going to struggle in batting average, and he's not going to steal many bases. Brandon Lowe is one of the better, I say this a lot, he's one of the better power-hitting options up the middle in baseball. The problem with Lowe is he's really streaky. He doesn't produce a lot of base hits. He strikes out a lot, and there's been injuries the last couple of years. But when he's going right, he's a 30 home run bat. We've seen it. He hit 39 home runs one year. He's a 30 home run bat if he can stay healthy. I think that there is an outside chance he gets there this year. Obviously, this massive hot stretch here of late puts him back on pace to be that guy. Now is the time to strike. He could be on the waiver wire. I think that's a possibility in shallow leagues. I also think that, when you hit 6 home runs over a 2-week period of time, everyone notices. Maybe he got picked up this weekend. Just know what you get with Lowe. And that is, if he hits 250, you're doing really well. There's probably going to be an injury in there, and he's going to steal 6 bases, right? So don't have high expectations with him, but realize that things are going in the positive direction. Okay. Miguel Vargas, 2 for 4 with a double, 2 runs scored and a home run for the White Sox. And Vargas is a sneaky play. He's a guy that qualifies at multiple positions. He's in the lineup every day for the White Sox. He's got 7 home runs and hitting over 300 his last 26 games. He's obviously available in a ton of leagues. What's he available in? Let's look him up real quickly. Over at RT Sports, which is one I have open, just to quickly look. He's rostered in 16% of leagues. 16%. Probably qualifies at first base. Probably qualifies at third base. As we're noting here, he's been quite effective. The last 2 weeks, he's hitting 300 with 5 home runs. That OPS is over 1,000. He can really hit. It's taken him a long time to get there. He certainly has taken longer to, quote-unquote, arrive than anticipated. He was a very high-end prospect who has struggled for his footing. The good news for him is that the White Sox have nothing. We know this, right? He's getting 550 plate appearances if he's healthy. It's just happening, right? Struggles or not. They got, because this is kind of that make-or-break season for Vargas. He's getting to that point where it's like, look, bro, you're a pedigreed prospect, but you've had a couple of years here and you've stunk. Now's your chance. It's either now or never. You're going to become either a daily player in this league or you're going to become a bench guy in this league. So he's pushing to become a bench player. He's performing very well. His seasonal numbers are still really muted. He's hitting 239 with the 730 OPS, which is basically league average. But he has been very good the last month. He's been hot the last couple of weeks. And with multi-position flexibility, those of you looking to make moves, which I know a lot of you are, not a bad pickup whatsoever. A couple of pitchers before we talk the waiver wire. Michael King's going on the injured list or has gone on the injured list with a shoulder issue. We don't know how much time he's going to miss. This is terribly unfortunate. Obviously, he's been one of the better right-handed pitchers. He's been one of the better pitchers in baseball to date for the Padres. We just don't know. And, it's a national holiday. Let's not hang on guys getting hurt, but guys get hurt on the mound all the time. It's just so tiring. It's just so tiring, right? We all know it. It's so tiring. Let's hope the King gets good news. As we are always talking about shoulders, Like, we know the elbow is the injury we fear because you have surgery and you miss a year and a half and all that kind of stuff. But shoulder injuries are difficult. Sometimes they're difficult to diagnose. Sometimes they're difficult to pitch through. There's no, like, you tore your ligament in your elbow, you fix it. In your shoulder, it's like, So fingers crossed that we get good news the next day or two. Right now, we're just in a holding pattern with King, and that just sucks. At least he's on the injured list, so you can make a move in your lineup. Roki Sasaki, who's dealing with a shoulder injury of his own, he's scheduled to resume throwing soon, week or so. Now, it's very unclear when he'll return. If he starts throwing in a week or so, like, he may or may not be back in June. And I was reading some articles because I was talking to somebody in the Discord over at FG. Remember, you can click that subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page to sign up for all the baseball content we have at Fantasy Guru. Talking to somebody over the weekend, and they were, hey, I think it was a Dynasty League question. Hey, what do you think, Ray? And it's like, in a Dynasty League, I mean, I think you still got to be in, but remember, Sasaki has still never in his life thrown 135 innings in a season. That's not a high mark. Even in this day and age, you're making a move to bring a guy in thinking he's going to be an ace and he's going to throw 132 innings. You got to be able to throw 160, right? At least 160. You want your ace to be throwing 180, but at least get to 160. Can Sasaki do it? He's never done it before. Now he's like 23, so okay. But he's got the shoulder. The shoulder was an issue last year. Velocity was down last year. We talked about this in the preseason. We wrote about this over at FG as well. Sasaki mentioned that, one doctor recommended elbow surgery. He went to the teams this offseason when he was being basically interviewing. They were interviewing him. He was interviewing them. And he basically said, why do you think my velocity went down last year? And so this, I'm a little uneasy. And obviously there's his performance on the hill, which has been woefully disappointing. Lack of control, lack of ability to go deep into games, high pitch counts, velocity down, all this kind of stuff. In the end, I'm still a Roki Sasaki guy. If you could get him for a discounted price in a Dynasty or Keeper League, I'm in. The question was Corbin Burns for Sasaki was the Discord question. It's like, Corbin Burns is in his 30s now, still really effective. So keep an eye on things with Sasaki. If he pitches in June, I would consider that to be a success. He's got a long way to go to live up to expectations, though. Remember, a lot of scouts said his splitter is the best pitch on the planet. He's not even able to get through the lineups a couple times, so we'll continue to watch that. Mason Miller finally did well. He slammed the door on the Phillies to get the save on Sunday. Now, he has been all over the place. His whip is now, his ERA is 5.8. His whip is 1.4. Ooh, he's got 12 saves. So, he's on pace for 35, 40 saves or something like that. That's great. But this is, a couple of bad outings, but it's terrible. His last 4 outings, his ERA is 10. Well, 11 is 10.8. And his whip is 3.3. He has had a brutal stretch here. So at least he was able to have a clean inning yesterday. He'll be better. He's got 36 strikeouts in 18 innings. Woohoo! We all know what it is, but this is the issue with relievers, and it's the one negative with using relievers to fix ratios. Or I'm going to get 75 innings out of these guys, in the bullpen, or 70 innings out of this bullpen guy, 2.80 ERA in a 101 whip, and that's going to really help my starting pitching. It only takes a couple of rough outings from a guy like Miller to cause the ratios to just be wonky. So he's at 5.8 and 1.4 right now. For him to have a 2.8 ERA this season and a 1.01 whip, I mean, he's basically going to have to be unscored on for like a month. Like, it's going to have to be, right? Still dominant, still on pace in the saves column. I think you can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief if you were concerned. And I know there were some people that were concerned with Mason Miller. All right, it's a Monday. Let me tweet this sucker out. By the way, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, all those places at The Ray Flowers. On Mondays, we talk about a lot of things, including the waiver wire. Let's see if I can bring that up now. Here we talk waiver wire and all the leagues that I am in. Let's make me a little smaller. The yellow that you see here are my bids. I don't know if I did that on all the pages. I usually do that each week, but here it is. LABR. It's a 15-team mixed league. $100 to spend in this setup. If you add a player, he has to be in your lineup. You cannot add minor league players. So Jack Caglione of the Royals, unless you drafted him, You can't add them. Players can't be added until they're promoted. So Marcelo Mayer was eligible because he obviously played over the weekend. And in this league, you have to have money left to pick guys up off the waiver wire. There is no freebies. There's no $0 pickups on the waiver wire. So you always have to save a little bit. So that mutes the bidding a little bit on a weekly basis. I just see that Marcelo Mayer went for 9%, $9. I had a $4 bid on him. I'm already down to like $40 out of the 100. Like I've had to spend. This league has been a mess. I think I'm in 10th place or something right now. It's been a mess. Did get back. This is the league where I have Acuna, right? Let me pull this up. Yeah, this is the league I have Acuna, so that should be a huge boost. And I've added some guys off the waiver. I added Ryan Nelson. I added Chris Paddock off the waiver wire. I was able to add Jake Irvin. So, things will get better. I'm not predicting I'm going to win this league by any means, but I think things should get better in this league. Regardless, we're talking about FAAB here. Marcelo Mayer goes for 9. Surprising, 7-6, 8, 4-4. So no one really, and again, this goes back to what I was talking about. It's not that Mayer's not expected to play full time and be effective, but what does that mean in the fantasy space? Taking walks is good for a player. Is it help you in the 5x5 game? I mean, we were just talking about Juan Soto. He's not been good. Still has a 360 on base percentage. That's still really nice, but people are saying, oh, he's hitting 236. That's why batting average shouldn't be used. But anyway, different topic. Mayer is, I'm again a little surprised. Now you'll see other bids in the FSGA league we just talked about and in TOUT WARS that are even lower than this. So the 9% bid for Marcelo Mayer here, and again, this is a 15-team league. Most of you are in a 10 and 12-team leagues. And again, not that everyone's right, but when you start looking at 15 teams here, 15 teams in TOUT WARS, 14 teams in FSGA, that's 44 quote-unquote experts, me 3 times, but 44 quote-unquote experts who didn't bid more than 9% on Mayer. So leads you to think that as much as this could be something, a lot of people aren't getting overly excited. Ronnie Henrique goes to Fangraphs for $8. Interesting bid there. I mean, Henrique has been really effective in the strikeout column. 35 strikeouts in 25 innings. Picked up a save. Did he get the save yesterday? Picked up the save the other day. Oh, I said Miami. Sorry, he's on the Twins. He's basically become Griffin Jax. Griffin Jax has struggled and missed expectations of mine completely. So we kind of get that scenario. Oh, what am I saying? He is with the Marlins now. I'm all confused. He is with the Marlins. Sorry, he was with the Twins. He still has become Griffin Jax. Let's get that straight. But Ronnie Henriquez could be the closer for the Marlins. And again, lots of strikeouts here. Whip is still kind of up in the air, but his last 13 outings, 20 strikeouts in 12 innings. Like he's really bringing the fireball and with an opportunity to, do some damage in the 9th inning, because I wrote about this last week. Miami's bullpen is a disaster. It's really a disaster. So maybe Ronnie Henriquez takes over the bullpen spot there. Obviously, the team from Fangraphs was in. Failed bids of $3 and $1. So even so, that was a little bit of an overpay. But again, if he goes on to get 20 saves the rest of the way, it's worth it. Danny Palencia, another guy working the 9th inning. Interestingly, he went for 7. As you can see there with Palencia, one of the bids was mine, and there was more activity with Palencia than with Henriquez. Palencia, let's pull it up. I think he hasn't been clean the whole time through for the Cubs. Basically, Ryan Presley is not the flavor of the month now. We know that. The team's left him in to be battered. We've talked about that. If you look at the last 2 outings for Palencia, he's got the save. The outing before that, he got 2 outs and gave up 2 runs. But for the most part, he's been quite effective. Palencia sporting a 2 ERA and a .91 whip. 25% strikeout rate is solid. 10% walk rate is not. That is not a good combination. His strikeout to walk ratio is like a 10th above the league average. Something to keep an eye on there. Is he a big ground ball guy? He is not a big ground ball guy. Right now, he's got a 40% ground ball rate. Very fortunate 6% home run to fly ball ratio. So, Palencia is an opportunity-based closer. He's not a fireballer. He's not a huge strikeout guy. He's not a big ground ball guy. He's a guy getting an opportunity. And with the muddled mess this bullpen has been, for the most part, there's a legitimate chance that Palencia runs with this. He's got 5 holds and 2 saves right now. So I totally understand the price point. It's why I bid on Palencia in this league. Angel Martinez went for $4. Robert Hassel for $3. We've talked about both those guys on the show, including Robert Hassel last week in my ramblings piece. So check that out over at fantasyguru.com. Not really excited about Robert Hassel. Robert Garcia, RotoWire for $3, a pretty good pickup there. We don't know if Luke Jackson is still the closer. Things are kind of wonky in the bullpen with the Rangers. Martin's dealing with health issues. Luke Jackson, kind of the same thing. So Garcia, solid pickup at $3. Carlos Narvaez has been killing it. For those of you in 2 catcher leagues, he's been killing it. Even in 1 catcher leagues, he's really rising up the ranks. Clearly over his head. But he is, for the last 3 or 4 weeks here, been one of the better hitting catchers in baseball. Really surprising, too. Mitchell Parker for $2. Adrian Hauser for $2. DJ LeMahieu for $2. No. Ryan Nelson for $2 for me. There we go. I don't know how long Ryan Nelson sticks in the rotation. This is a little dicey. Eduardo Rodriguez, I don't know when he comes back, so we'll see. Nelson could make 2 starts this week. He could end up making 1 with Rodriguez back late into the rotation, kicking Nelson back to the bullpen. So Nelson did this last year where he started in the bullpen and was moved into the rotation later in the year and was really good. I think he could be very effective yet again. We'll see what his role is, though. It likely comes down to Eduardo Rodriguez and the health of him and the others in the Diamondbacks. Cody Cummins went for $1. Cummins has been white hot of late. As the Twins get healthy, Carlos Correa, Castro, I don't know how much he plays, but in a deeper league, he's fine for $1, and then Tyler Freeman for $1 as well. Let's move on to FSGA. As you can see there, 14-team mixed league. This league, you can add players for $1, so there's not that push. You also have $1,000 to spend versus $100. Marcelo Mayer went for 7% here, so we had 9% in the first league. We're at 7% of the expenditure here. As you can see, I just missed out. The winning bid went to Adam Ronis for 68. I was at 62. Interestingly enough, to be truthful, I had Mayer at 69, and I lowered it to 62 because the more I looked into this, it's like, do I really need this guy? I kind of had this back and forth that we're talking about here. It's like, well, yes, he's a great prospect, but what does that mean in fantasy? I'm also down to like 380 of my $1,000 already, something like that. So I didn't want to overly spend. So my original bid would have won him by $1. We'll see if that ends up being smart or not for me to have backed off. I'm in 3rd place in this league. In this league up the middle, I've got Miguel Garcia, CJ Abrams. I took a chance on Caleb Durbin, who has struggled. But for those of you paying attention, the last week he's got 3 steals and he's hitting 350. So maybe. Basically, I took my shot on this league in Caleb Durbin. And as a result, I didn't really take a shot on Marcelo Mayer. I put a bid in, it was competitive, but I just missed out. Jacob Lopez went to $45 to the Fantasy Alarm team. Failed bids of 14, 1 and 1. Kyle Finnegan's not 100%. So we'll see. That's kind of where we're at right now. Sorry, I'm scratching my leg here. Sorry, I'm tired. That's the wrong Lopez. That's Jorge Lopez. Jacob Lopez is with the Athletics. I wonder if that was the wrong bid. I wonder. Because again, Lopez is perfectly fine, but he's not taking over the 9th inning. I don't know. $42 is kind of expensive for a guy that failed bid for Jacob Lowe, 14, 1 and 1. Maybe, again, maybe people were playing that game. But yeah, I thought Jorge Lopez, I read it wrong. Sorry. Jorge Lopez, by the way, with the Nationals. He is somebody that is seeing time in the 9th inning, and it's unclear how much time Finnegan's going to miss. If he was out the other day, and they made it sound like he was going to the injured list, and then they kind of backed off that. So we'll continue to watch that storyline here early in the week. Jorge Soler went to Dr. Roto. Soler is available in a lot of leagues. I bid on it myself this weekend. The $23 bid right there was mine. I didn't highlight it, but the $23 bid for Jorge Soler was mine, just behind Dr. Roto. Matt Vierling went for $32, a failed bid for $13. Denzel Clark to Ray Flowers. Ray overpaid at $29. I did. I went with Clark at $29 and Soler at $23. I kind of thought that Clark would have more hype. Clearly he didn't. Though, to be fair, the only hype bid on Soler besides Dr. Roto was me. So it was a choose your poison. Clark is a tremendous athlete. He is one of these players you can dream on if it all comes together. The Athletics figured to play him on a daily basis, at least for the short term. He's kind of a physical freak that is still trying to refine his game. I think he was like prospect MLB pipeline him at like 5th. I think in the A's prospects. So we'll see. I'm a big Jorge Soler guy, and at that price point, I'm in, right? But I took a shot on Denzel Clark. Why not? Let's give it a shot. Give it a shot, kid. So now Clark joins an outfield of Jordan Walker, Tyrone Taylor, Jung-Hoo Lee, and Kyle Tucker. And that's because I have Evan Carter on the injured list as well. Ooh, my outfield. Hey, I'm in third place before you start bagging on the team. All right, let's move on. Next up, Kyle Harrison went for $28. Some failed bids there. The highs of $18 bids, by the way. Harrison's going to make at least one more start in the Giants rotation, and then we'll see. Justin Verlander is not expected to miss a significant amount of time. Birdsong is in the rotation now, so that really looks like it's going to be Verlander or Harrison. Harrison came up and threw 61 pitches or whatever it was his first outing. So the talent is there for Harrison, but as we've discussed, it's backed up a little bit since the highs that were expected of him a couple of years ago. Ryan Gusto for 18. Ryan Nelson for 18. I would have gone Ryan Nelson over Gusto, but both these guys in similar positions, their role in the rotation is really dependent upon others. Lance McCullers for 18. 18's the number. Baseball HQ going 18 wild this week. Lance McCullers is just not we talked about this last week on the Elite Sports Game Time show. The Astros desperately need McCullers to be a thing. He's just so tough to trust. 18 out of 1,000, go for it. There's zero issue with that. It's just, I don't know. I mean, can he throw 18 more innings without getting an injury? I don't know. He's struggled for consistency and depth in games because he's throwing pitches all over the place right now. But he is a talented guy, and the Astros will give him an opportunity to start. Jonah Heim went for 17, two-catcher league. Not a bad bid there at all. Danny Palencia for 9 with some failed bids of $3 and $3. Robert Hassel, again, $4. I don't care. Landon Rout for $2. That's a really good pickup. Really good pickup. Ray, why didn't you make a move there? Well, in my league, this league, I have Yamamoto, Springs, Ray. I spent on Zebby Matthews last week, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me. Nick Lodolo, Merrill Kelly, Mitch Keller, Cade Horton, Luis Castillo. I just didn't have a need for a starting pitcher. So it could have been. It wouldn't have been dumb at all for me to bet on Landon Raup. I probably should have, to be fair, but I didn't. All right. And Adrian Uribe went for $1. Uribe is basically the setup guy right now in Milwaukee, who's pitched really well minus one outing last week, I think it was. Finally, the Tout Wars League. Tout Wars, let's pull that up. I think I'm in third place in Tout Wars. Second place. Hey, look at that. Ray Boone in second place yesterday. Second place in Tout Wars. Brian Boyer's got 135 points right now. His team is killing it. I'm at 110. Here's the list here. Remember, this league is an innings pitched league. It's 15 teams, excuse me. Innings pitched over wins, solds over saves, on-base percentage over batting average. So in this league, Jamison Tyon for 78. You look at, this is the thing. You look at the waiver wire, and it's like I spent at 42 or 40, something like that on Jeffrey. No, that was a different league. Who do I have here? Let me back up. Colin Ray, that's the guy I spent on. I added Colin Ray and Chris Paddock, both of them for like 35, 45, something like that. A little bit less than the Jamison Tyon zone. Is Tyon more consistent and durable than the other two? Okay. I still like the price, but if I could get Ray and Paddock for the same price as Tyon, I'm in, right? So that's the decision that I have made in this league. I'm about ready to make a trade in this league, I think, too. I'll probably mention that later in the week if it goes down. Fine addition there at $78 for Zach Steinhorn. Matt Shaw for $333. In this league, if you add a player, like you could have added Matt Shaw 2 weeks ago. Ray, why is Matt Shaw on the waiver wire? You've been talking to us about adding him. In this league, if you add a player, he has to go into your lineup. So if you would have added Matt Shaw 2 weeks ago, you'd have had to take a 0 all week. Which again, if it's a guy and he kills it the rest of the way, this is a roto league, so it's okay. Not ideal. So he went for $333, did Shaw. And that was just some banging bidding here on him. Let's see who the next highest bid was. The next highest bid, 106. Next highest bid was 288. So there was some bidding there on Matt Shaw. Again, noted why. Let's see. Next up, Clark, who we just talked about. So 7% bid here. I spent 30%? 3%. So I spent more. This is 0.7% if I learned how to count. I did spend 3 times as much. Clark went for $7. Romano for $19. Good addition there. Again, remember, this is a sold league, so Romano's a good pickup, but he's not a closer. And here we go. Caglione for $211. Caglione is again, in this league, has to be added and put in your lineup all week. So Kev is going to get zeros all week unless Caglione gets called up. Had a question about Caglione in Discord over at fantasyguru.com, so check that out. Kind of laid out my thoughts there. An aggressive bid, though, when Caglione gets promoted, that number goes up. So it's aggressive in this league where you have to have the guy active in your lineup. And again, for more on him, check out the Discord at FG. Clemens, again, for 15. Fine short-term pickup. He qualifies at multiple positions. He's hitting very well right now. Ciccone for 55. Zach McKinstry for 27. Fine pickup there. Randy Vasquez for $15. Fine pickup there. Ben Brown has really struggled. Could get demoted. Kate Horton could hold on to the spot in the rotation for the Cubs. Reese Hins, who was demoted. Misner was picked up for 11. Fine there. Acuna for $1. Fine there. And there's the last one. Matt Trussell picks up Marcelo Mayer for 2. So again, not that we all are right, but the people that do this professionally, the people that you look at a lot of times for advice, none of us bid more than 9% of our FAAB budget on Marcelo Mayer. Part of that's probably the concern about how dynamic he is going to be offensively. Part of it might be the concern about how long he's going to be in the lineup. But if Bellinger's missing he's missing a month, and it's not just a 10-day thing, for Mayer. You got to hit now or you're out. He's got a month of time. So month, 6 weeks, if it's something like that, that's a lot of time to kind of establish yourself. So hopefully he'll just hit the ground running and be effective. He was doing a really good job down on the farm, but no one really buying in. But look, think of that. And again, I'm not saying this is the right way to do it, but Caglione for 211, Mayer for 2. Which way would you go? Right? So yeah, I'd go the $2, obviously, on the youngster of the Braves. So there you go. It's a little bit of a shorter show today. I got some writing to do over at fantasyguru.com. Just some updates. Again, the Elite Sports Game Time show is no longer on this week. We'll be back next week at 8 to 10. But this week we're on 3 to 6 Eastern, Monday through Friday. No, Tuesday through Friday. 3 to 6 Eastern, Tuesday through Friday. I know this really doesn't help anybody. The scheduling is just, I wish it was more clean, and it's not. So today, Justin Fensterman's on 7 to 9. The rest of the week from 3 to 6 Eastern, and that's Tuesday through Friday. The Elite Sports Game Time show will be in the Elite Sports segment. So Justin and I will be on 3 to 6 Eastern, Tuesday through Friday. Jeff Mans is on vacation. He'll be back from vacation next week and return to 3 to 6 Eastern. Justin and I will then go back to 8 to 10 Eastern. This show will be on all week at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, as always. So instead of 3 shows a day, you only get 2 this week. Sorry, folks. But we'll still be over at fantasyguru.com doing our thing. When I get done here, I got an article to write, a seasonal article to write. I'm going to try to get a bet out or 2 for the evening slate. We'll see how that goes. There's not many night games this week. There's four kind of evening games. I mean, this day. Let's pull up the schedule. I think there's 5 games after 3 o'clock Eastern or 2 o'clock Pacific time, if I'm not mistaken. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 5 games. So we'll try to get something up for those of you looking for a bet. We have DFS articles already up, the cheat sheets up, the articles up over at fantasyguru.com. So look for that. Again, I'll have a lot this week because of the time schedule. A lot of my work this week is just going to be geared towards seasonal. For those of you in seasonal, you want to get signed up, click that subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page. Get all the baseball coverage we have. The rest of the week, I'm basically going to be doing Ray's Ramblings because I just don't have time after doing this show to get the DFS stuff done by the time the show starts with Justin, because again, it's 3 to 6 Eastern, which is 12 o'clock my time. So I'll be doing Ramblings articles this week. And remember, too, that the first day of every month, which is another reason to sign up at FG, the first day of every month, I update the rankings. All 650 players are re-ranked for the rest of the season. So on June 1st, which is this weekend, right? Saturday? Sunday. No? Yeah, Sunday. Sunday, the rankings will be updated at fantasyguru.com. So check that out. That's another bonus you get if you sign up with us at FG. I'm Ray Flowers. Follow me on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all these places at the Ray Flowers. Have a really nice, safe Memorial Day. Enjoy your family and your friends. Enjoy some baseball. Get out there, stay safe, have a good time, and know that we're there for you if you want us to be today and every day over at fantasyguru.com. For Fantasy Sports Daily, I am Ray Flowers. We'll be back again tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern here, powered by fantasyguru.com. Take care. Happy holiday.